My previous videos about the 70mm dash cam have been quite positive, but this one is actually quite negative. First of all, a little bit of background for you. For the 70mm Pro, there's a GPS module option, and I ordered it because I thought that it would give me longitude and latitude coordinates. It doesn't. And this module has confused quite a lot of people. People think the same as me, or think it should provide speed, but it doesn't. So I made a video explaining exactly what it does. All it does is enables the ADAS features, the Advanced Driver Assist program. So this video has been quite well received, and last week a viewer put a comment that there's a firmware update which adds latitude, longitude and speed. So I thought, great, this is what everyone wants. So I downloaded the updates of the firmware. It's quite easy. You have to do it via the mobile phone app. So you connect your mobile phone to the internet, download the firmware update, then you connect it to the Wi-Fi hotspot in the dash cam, and then push the updates to the dash cam. So I did that, and that was all fine. But after that update, it needed a recalibration. And in the past, recalibration hasn't been too much of a problem. But this time it's been a huge problem. I spent about 5 days trying to calibrate it. So when you turn it on for the first time, it goes into a calibration mode, and it takes about 5 to 8 minutes. And this week, every time it's been telling me calibration failed. So I turn the unit off, turn it back on again, and it goes back into calibration mode. And then another 5 to 8 minutes it tells me it's failed. I've been doing that since Wednesday, and it must have failed about 50 times. This morning I tried again. I tried about half a dozen times. It failed every time, and in the end I thought this is just a waste of time, so I just forgot about it. So I just left the camera on and didn't try to recalibrate. Stopped somewhere for coffee, and I forgot to turn the camera off. So when I got back in the car, it was already on. So I'm driving along, and suddenly I hear the ADAS talking to me, telling me that to beware of the car in front. And when I looked at the camera, it's got the little green tick to show me that the calibration has passed successfully. But how did that happen? The last time it tried to calibrate, it failed, and since then I haven't tried to recalibrate. So why is it suddenly okay? I just don't know. So that's my first gripe, and I've had calibration problems before, but it only takes like 2 or 3 attempts. This time it's taken 5 days. So now the latest update is working, so I can tell you what it does. And that's also not very positive, because what I was expecting, what I was hoping for, doesn't exist. So what I was hoping is that now the longitude and latitude and maybe speed will be shown on the camera as you in like live view as you're driving along. It's not. It's exactly the same as before. You don't see any information. And if you transfer a file to your computer, there's no longitude, latitude or speed information either. The only place you see it is when you view the movies on the back of the camera, but that's useless. You know, if you want it in 2 places. Either you want it live when you're driving along, which isn't there, or if maybe you're involved in an accident and you want to give the film to the police or to your insurance company as evidence, you want it there, and it's not there either. So okay, that they have added longitude, latitude and speed, but they haven't added it where I need it. So all in all, I've had a pretty lousy week with 70mm, and I'm not feeling as positive about the dash cam as I was previously. First, let's just confirm the level of firmware. So we'll go into the menu, and we'll go down to About, and it tells us that our current version of firmware is 1.0.5 NA. And this is the version that supposedly gives us longitude, latitude and speed. Now if we go back into the live view, what you see when you're driving along, and this is it, and as you will see, there is a date and a time, but no latitude, longitude or speed. And what you might also notice at the top is the little green arrow, sorry, the little green tick to say that it's been calibrated. But for 5 days I've been trying to calibrate it, and every time it tells me the calibration failed, and then suddenly it just decides to calibrate on its own. So I don't know what's happened there. So where do we see longitude, latitude and speed? And the only place we see it is if we view a video on the dash cam itself. So if I go into videos, select a video, and in the upper right corner, I'm not quite sure how clear it is on the video, just underneath date and time, you should see longitude, latitude and speed. But this isn't where I want to see it. I want to see it when I'm in the live view, when I'm driving along, and I want to see it on the recorded videos in case I have to give a video to my insurance company or to the police for evidence. The two places I want to see the information, it's not there. And the one place where I really don't care about the information, it is there. So this firmware update doesn't really do much for me. I'm not that impressed, and I really haven't been impressed this week because of all the calibration problems. So not a great week with my 70Mi. Here is some recorded footage, and as you can see there is no longitude, latitude or speed. And in the event of an accident, this is the kind of thing that I would hand over to my insurance company to show them exactly what happened. Okay, they can see exactly what happened, but it would be nice also to show them exactly where it happened, if there was longitude and latitude, and what speed I was doing. But none of that information exists on the recorded footage. 70Mi have also made a few other little improvements with this firmware update. I don't have a complete list, but a few things I've noticed. Some of the menu items, which presumably were translated from Chinese to English, weren't very clear originally, and the wording has been improved. When you go to calibrate now, it tells you to maintain a speed of 20 kilometers an hour or above. And one of the ADAS functions is a front collision warning. So when it warns you now, it draws a little green box around the car in question. So there's a few things that have been improved, but the two things that I think most people really wanted aren't there. So in that respect, it's quite disappointing. The only thing I'm optimistic about is that these features can be added in firmware. So it's quite possible that 70Mi will release another firmware update that will add the features that people really want. They should have a lot of incentive to do so, because the lack of these features is costing them sales. In my last video, a few people commented that not having these features was a deal breaker. They really want latitude, longitude and speed. And if those features are not there, they're not going to buy a 70Mi, they're going to buy another model. So it's really in 70Mi's best interests to get this firmware right. Thanks for watching, and if I get any more 70Mi updates, I'll add another video update.